right. Welcome back to the Island Well Show. My name is Runy and I want to dive right into this episode. What is this episode about? Have you heard about United States wanting to put tariffs all over the world on Canada, Mexico? Maybe they also want to put it on other countries like China, like Brazil, like India, like any other, South Africa. You understand? What is happening? We might be in a war for trade. That means the new president of the United States might want to impose tariffs, which is a tax, on countries that they don't like. What will happen if they want to do that with the BRICS? As you know, BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, the South Africa, and there are other countries also attaching to the BRICS. Don't forget China. China is the biggest member of the BRICS. So if you want to know what the impact is of the United States putting tariffs on the BRICS, then what you need to do is you need to know how much is the exports and imports of the BRICS to the United States. What is it? The tariffs are put on the imports, for instance, on China, or the imports from the United States from Mexico, or the imports from Canada on to the United States. So if you know what the value is of the total exports or imports, then you know how big is it. Suppose there are no trade between United States and another country, Seychelles. So if, for instance, Mr. Trump wants to put tariffs on Seychelles, because there is no trade between them, it doesn't make sense. Now, in another episode, we will talk about what the impact is on the United States of putting tariffs, because it doesn't work like you think it works. It doesn't work like hey, I'm putting tariffs on people and I'm damaging them. For instance, when you put tariffs on, for instance, Mexico, everything which is produced in Mexico and going to the United States, everything the United States citizens buy will become more expensive. That means more inflation. Think about that. Think if the United States wants to put a tariff on your BMW from Germany, because the United States, Trump doesn't like Europe, and Trump is trying to say, I'm going to hit you with a tariff. If you want to buy a BMW, a car from Germany, you will pay the tariff. It will become more expensive. So if you are a United citizen and you don't yet have a BMW, you are going to rush and buy a BMW right now before the tariffs. So it's not that the people from Germany will be hurt, but you will be hurt first, and of course later on it will become difficult for German companies to export their BMWs to the United States, and they will maybe look to China to export their BMWs to China. Okay? But the first thing which will happen is that you in the United States, you that are buying a product that's coming from outside the United States, will be hurt. Your inflation will go up. And if your inflation goes up, then you will buy less. So you will consume less, and that will put the economy of United States going down. So tariffs might not be the best thing you want to to say like, hey, United States is going to hurt the world. It's going to hurt United States back. So I want you to join my program. And what is this program about? This program, I'm going to share my screen right now for you. This program is about, let me share my screen, yes. This program is about a macroeconomic model that I'm building for the United States. What is a macroeconomic model? It contains all the figures of the United States, the imports, the exports, the economy, the consumption, the investments, and that will during that model, what can you do with that model? You can analyze the economy of the United States. So where do you go? You go to, I will tell you that you will go to this website, and after this website, let me say, you're going to bit.ly, and then you're going to United States, USA macro investment model. bit.ly /USA macro investment model. And when you put your name and your email there, the only thing that you're saying is you're raising your hand, letting me in the VIP launch. And the VIP launch is a launch where we serve cocktails, and we, on the Caribbean, we like cocktails. I'm living on the Caribbean. And then we will invite the people in the VIP launch as soon as we start building that model, as soon as it is open to enter building the model, because I have an offer for you. I'm going to build this model in a couple of weeks, in 16 weeks, and you can be behind the scenes watching exactly how we build this model and how we are simulating the USA economy with this model. One of the simulations you will be seeing is what will happen if you raise the tariffs. What will happen with the United States economy? Will it contract? Will it go down? How much will inflation go up? How much will the consumption go down? Because if your prices are going up, it's becoming more difficult. Then the United States economy is fueled by consumption. And if you cannot consume, the growth of the economy will decline. How much unemployment will that bring with it? You see, that is what we're going to build. So put your name in there. Put your name and your email. And the only thing you want to do is put your name and your email, and I will remember you. You don't have to pay anything yet, but I'm going to give you an offer later on that you can check it out and you can say, okay, let's do this. I want this. I want to be part of the people, the select people that are going to go 16 weeks and building the model, running simulations, etc. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is the BRICS. Look at this. This website, my people will put it on the screen. This website, let me see if I can show you everything. This website, it is basically the BRICS website. Let me put it like that for you. It's brics.ibge.gov.br. This is the Brazil version. So you see the BRICS, Brazil is already working there. And there is also an India Central Bureau of Statistics. They have this kind of data. And we also have probably Russia have this kind of data. India has this kind of data. China has this kind of data. So what is this? This is the BRICS Joint Statistical Publication 2024. And I when I was preparing this session for you today, this episode for you today it's Monday, and I will be telling you something about Monday because Monday is very, very, very special. I will be talking to you later on that. But today I was preparing this, and what I saw is what is the data because I wanted to know what is the data about the exports and imports. And when I do that, when I advise investors, I advise uh, uh, um, policy departments of small island nations, I'm looking at the data because I don't want to talk just like that, like, hey, where is this? What is this about? How much is it? How much is it going to impact? How much are the exports to United States? How much are the imports to the United States? For the same thing, I'm now focusing on the BRICS and I wanted the data source. And once I saw this publication, this publication is built by all the Central Bureau of Statistics of these nations. And I was impressed. I was impressed. If you're looking at this, on Noster, if you're looking at this episode in Noster, I was like shocked. Did these guys already have this data? They are bonding together and they have all this data. I'm telling you, I'm an economist, and when I'm looking for data, the data is scattered all the place. We're going into that publication to show you what kind of data they have so that you know that these guys are serious. Okay? So, I show you this because I want you to just download this data for yourself. If you have only been focusing on the United States, maybe you are in the Eastern Caribbean, maybe you are one of the 12 islands in the Eastern Caribbean that I'm focused on, like Jamaica, Turks and Caicos, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, Curacao. Maybe you are from Curacao. Maybe, not maybe, I know that all these islands in the Caribbean, they are focused on the United States because the tourism is coming from United States, either cruise or stay over. The cruise ships are in Miami, and then they're going down, 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 and going to Curacao. Maybe they're going to St. Martin. They're going to Bahamas, etc. All coming from the United States. So I'm telling you, Caribbean, the OACS, the CARICOM nations, you all are focused on the United States. And I'm here, I'm the messenger. I'm telling you that these guys, the BRICS, they are becoming the top of the world. China will become the most dominant country in the world. And there are people saying that the United States is going down. For instance, Professor Richard Wolff, if you look at the professor on YouTube, you will see democracy. What is his name again? Democracy at Work. I listened to that professor recently, and I'm looking, and the professor is in the United States, but he is already talking about the going down of the United States economy. So I'm not against the economy, against the United States, against anything, but I'm just showing you if you are only dependent on United States for your cruise tourism, stay over tourism, for your trade, if you are in the Caribbean region, you better start looking at the BRICS. And I'm here during this week. I'm going to go every day online during 5 days to tell you about the BRICS. So this is the first episode where I'm introducing you to the joint statistical publication. Now let's look at this joint statistical publication and let's just download this thing. I'm downloading it. And it's taking a while. And now we're going to go. So what am I going to look? I'm going to look at the exports and the imports later on in this episode, but I just want you to get an idea of this BRICS. Look at this, BRICS 2024, and they're talking about Russia. So because there was a BRICS 2024 in Russia. Now, they made their first publication. Okay? Now, I'm telling you, let's look at this publication. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And you see 348 pages already. So it is not a small publication that, okay, let's just put some data in there. It is serious stuff. Because these guys, these countries, they have all the data and they have together. Now, how does this compare? You know there is a G7. A G7 is the 7 industrialized countries in the world around United States, UK, I think France. But now these people, these BRICS people, the folk of BRICS, they are surrounding China. And you will see it's not only Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, but there are a lot more. There are about 130 countries. Maybe there are, I think, 130 countries, 1 billion population, which is surrounded by the BRICS. I will talk about that in the future, in a future episode. But the BRICS, these are the core countries. Now let's look at their data. Let's look at the data. You see all these statistical offices, are part of it. Iran is in there. So it's not only BRICS, but it's BRICS plus. You see? Iran is there. Ethiopia has also joined them. Ethiopia is a poor country, but probably they have minerals and everything. Egypt has also joined them. Yeah? You have Iran and the United Arab Emirates. What does it mean? This is a very, very rich country. The United Arab Emirates, they are producing oil and they are very, very, very rich. Okay? So it's not only a bunch of people, a bunch of countries going together. These people, they have power and they have money. Okay, let's look at the forward. You see, all these people are the head of the statistical offices that they have been assigned to produce this joint publication. And if you believe, okay, this publication, what is it about? Is it the first time? No. Let's go back there. You see that there are statistical publications of all the years before. So 2020 said they have been doing this on an annual basis. Every year they have been producing this. Remember, if I'm an investor and I'm going to invest in one of these countries, the first thing I'm going to do is look at this statistical publication. Okay? And it's a joint statistical publication. All those Central Bureau of Statistics together. Now, what is it in there? General information about the BRICS, economic and social indicators. Okay, so if you want to know something about the social situation, like how much is the labor force, how much is the inflation, social indicators, how many poor people are there, how many wealthy people, all social indicators. This looks good. Area of territory, population density, gender, unemployment rate. So you see already, they are organizing their data. They're organizing their data and they're sharing their data with each other. One of the things that I show here, This is not data on the IMF. I don't have to go to the IMF website, International Monetary Fund, which is basically United States, because International Monetary Fund was funded during Bretton Woods 1944 by the United States. The World Bank has been founded by the United States in 1944. Now these people, these countries, are doing it themselves. They have their own statistical bureaus. Apart from the IMF, we want the data. Now, when you want the data like this, is because you want to trade with each other. You want to have economic discussions based on data. So I can imagine that this data, this joint publication, is not only for economists or investors like me, but this is also at a highest level when these people of these countries, China, Russia, India, South Africa, when they're going to talk, United Arab Emirates, when they're going to talk to each other, Ethiopia, they are talking about this. What is your social situation? And they're going to pick up data from there. What's your unemployment rate? Understand? Then you have population. So the population is going a little bit down, and it's going to give you from all these countries a picture of the population. Now this is what I'm needing when I'm building an economic model, like I'm going to build from United States, but I'm also thinking about building an economic model which is helping me to invest, to run simulations, to run scenarios, to analyze the economy, where it's going, to see opportunities for trade, opportunities for business, to link with these people, with the businesses in these countries, decentralized, because I can link with them with the decentralized apps and software. I can trade with them maybe with Bitcoin, trading and paying them with Lightning. That's for the people amongst you who are also Bitcoiners. This is a huge opportunity. You can trade with Brazil, with China, with India, with Egypt, just by sending them some money, sats, which is satoshis, instantly. Okay? So, this is the data about the population. Deep in there, you can understand that. Labor force. You want to know about the labor force. You want to know how many people are between let's say 18 and 65. You want to know, are their populations becoming older or not? Because in the Caribbean, for instance, in Curacao, where I am, and in St. Martin, in Aruba, the population is becoming more older. And when your population becomes older, there are less young people. That means that your economy will not produce enough premiums, enough taxes to be paid for the social benefits of the older people. That's why you want to know this about the labor force. Is there a high unemployment rate or not? That's what you measure. So I like this. Before, it was very difficult to get this data. I can tell you, there are some countries in some islands in the Caribbean, maybe Dominica, maybe Grenada, maybe Curacao, where you don't have the latest data about unemployment. You have to estimate it. You understand? So, because these people are already focusing here, you already know it is serious. National accounts. I love this. That's why I was impressed. I was like, do these people have this data already? Wow. You understand that? Because normally, it would be difficult to get all this data of the national accounts, which is how big is the economy? What are the sectors in the economy? Yes, we have them. So you see here, United Arab Emirates, you have Iran, you have Egypt, you have Ethiopia. This is not any BRICS anymore, but this BRICS extended. You see that? Those are basically 9 countries big countries, and in the population you can see how big are they compared to the world, and these are the largest countries in the world. I guess, I can tell you, I bet that these are more people than the United States. So if you are going to tariff all these countries as the United States new president, Mr. Trump, it means that you are taxing the tariffs, you are putting tariffs on economies that are much bigger than you. Understand? How does this compare the population with the G7? I think, how much is this population? How younger are this population compared to the G7? Those are the questions that we're going to answer. National accounts is in here. And then, if you have any question, just ask me the question. So, because I'm open for your questions here, there are no questions in here right now. But listen to this. You can ask questions. And when you ask questions, you will learn. Don't stay there on your own. Ask questions and you will see this. Okay? So, living standards. This is very important because they are not only focusing on the economy. You see here, living standards. So what's the data about the living standards of Brazil? I'm just giving you the highlight right now. The China, Egypt. So these people who made this, they want a broad definition of wealth. This show is about island wealth. And as you know, island wealth is not only about material wealth. First, economy, making more net worth, making more wages, higher wages, getting more people. If you are a person, if you are a business, more sales. But island wealth is about the wealth in your mind, the wealth in your body, the wealth in your heart, the wealth in your pocket, and the wealth in your soul. Because we are body, mind, soul, heart. Okay? Body, mind, and soul. Body, mind, and soul. It's not only money, money, money. So island wealth is living a wealthy lifestyle. At the end, you will see it again. How we live in the Caribbean. But it's it. So this is serious. Then we have the environment. So they are also have this data about the environment. And the environment is they want to know what is the sources. So do they have minerals? Do they have, what does those countries produce? How much minerals do they produce? So all the resources about the environment, what is the state of the environment? Normally, you would not see all this information, but they care about this, about the environment. That's why they put this in this report, because if you put it in the report, you can monitor it. You understand? So, industry, look at this. So, the manufacturing industry in the United States has gone down because most of the manufacturing, you need low wages, and because the United States had many companies, international companies, that they said, okay, go to the world and put your factories over there because it's cheaper in China, it's cheaper in Malaysia, it's cheaper in Brazil, it's cheaper in India, it's cheaper in Russia, Ethiopia. Put your manufacturing in there. So that's why the United States is more a service-based economy. Yes, you have Apple, you have Tesla, you have some agriculture, you have oil, but United States is not the factory of the world. It's not the factory of the world. China is the factory of the world. So that's why these people put the industry output, main industrial products in there. So that's what you will see at page 133. Now, let me tell you a little bit about how I will do this as a break. What do I have a plan? This data is in here you will see the tables. I will scroll to the tables. I'm just going through the first tables right now, the table of contents. But what I will do is I will go into this PDF and I will extract all these tables and put them in a Excel file or a CSV file, comma separated values. How can I do that? All this data, 348 pages. I have this data, but I want to make a graph myself. I want to analyze this data. How am I going to do this? You see, how am I going to do this? Now, I'm going to show you, let me show you a little bit by changing this. Let me see, where are we? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extract all this data. To do that, I need Python because I cannot do that in Excel. There is too much data and there is too many tables in there. So that's why I'm using my skills of artificial intelligence and I'm using my skill of Python. Python is just a programming language that you can automate stuff. And my automation is how can I extract this data from this PDF into Excel or into a table where I have all this data in there. How can I do this? Now, that's a problem. You see, you have a problem. If you are only working in Excel, you are not able to do that. You have to do manually typing this. Imagine you want to do that same thing that I'm going to do. We want to analyze the BRICS. We want to analyze it and we want to understand it. How can I do that? I can only do that by extracting the data. That's why I have my Python programming skill, my artificial intelligence skills, and now I can do that. I've done that already before. So this is a situation where you have a PDF with a lot of tables, a lot of data, and you don't want to type them in. You don't want to type them in. What you can do is, of course, you can ask all these, the people who made the publication, please send me the Excel file. But if they don't do that, then you as an investor in the BRICS, you are as an analyst to the BRICS, if you are an investor and you are a small island nation in the Caribbean and you are working on a policy department and you want all this data, how are you going to do that? That's why you need Python. So I have a program that's going to start soon, and that program is how to learn Python within 6 weeks. If you are interested, just comment below. You might be on LinkedIn, you might be on YouTube, you might be on Facebook, wherever you are, even you are on Nostr. Comment below, I want to learn more Python, and I will give you the link to do that. So, going back to the share screen. So we're talking about, if you just joined, we're talking about the BRICS and how the BRICS have organized their data. And remember, this thing is about the export sector. And can Trump just tax this? How can Trump do it? So energy. Energy is very important. They have organized their energy information here in the BRICS. You see here? How much energy do they have? Because they know that to grow the economy, you need energy. So United States is not only the biggest with oil, drill baby drill, but these people have also oil, and they also are becoming more independent from the rest of the world. Russia is a major oil producer, gas also. Europe made a mistake. They cut Russia from the oil and the gas, but it was 1/3. I think 1/3 of the European gas demand Or let's say Russia provided 1/3 of the European gas oil. Imagine that. And then suddenly the prices will go up. You see? Okay. Agriculture, very important. If you are a small island nation in the Caribbean, you want food security, you need an agriculture. You need forestry. You need to produce your own food. That's why they put the chapter Table 10. The Table 10 is about the BRICS with their own food production. You see? So when you tax them and you say, hey, we're not going to import anything in there, they're going to produce their own food and they're going to survive. They put it on the radar. It's in this document, so they are important. Transportation. How much transportation services do you have? Now, I can tell you, normally, you will not go into a sector. With these kind of publications, you will not see the sector breakdown like this. That's why I was like, wow. Not that I was not impressed, not that I don't know, that I think it's that they cannot do it. Yes, but I was impressed that they put all this data organized for all these countries. So transportation, yes, they are looking at their transportation sector. Agriculture, they are looking at the agriculture sector. Information technology, I bet they are better than the G7 in information technology. Because almost everybody has a mobile phone. They are monitoring it. So now here for the Caribbean nations. You know I'm advising you, Caribbean nations, Grenada, Turks and Caicos, Jamaica, St. Lucia, St. Kitts and Nevis, etc. What you see here is that information technology is very important. Look at these indicators in table 12.1 and make sure that you have this information, that you know about how the state of your information and communication technology is in there. You see that? Because the BRICS is a part of the world and they focus here. You want to have the same indicator so that you can show it up. You can show as Grenada, as Turks and Caicos, as St. Lucia, maybe Bahamas, Aruba. You need to be able to show this. I know for Curacao, we have an information technology report or survey, but I don't know if we have all these indicators in there. Finance. This is the finance. Of course, the government. You will see here that they are not indebted like the United States. Because the United States has a debt compared to the GDP of 130%. And I've already peeked here. I see that, for instance, United Arab Emirates has a low, very low debt to GDP. What does it mean? It means that they are not indebted like the United States. If you're going to put some tariffs on people and they don't have debt like you cannot hurt them that much, because if you have less debt, you are more flexible as the government. So United States, I can say probably United States has more debt, a worse financial situation than most of these. Maybe Egypt and maybe let's say the other one, Egypt and Ethiopia might have a debt situation, but the other ones are better. So external economic indicators, the whole trade. So this is the chapter we want to look at. The external trade, that is where you see the goods and services. Okay, let's pause here. So you see, I took my time to show you the whole table, because this week I'm going, every day of the week, I'm going to dive into the BRICS data. And I'm doing this, if you are an author, to compare that with building my macroeconomic model for United States. And also I'm thinking about building a macroeconomic model for all these BRICS nations so that I can interact with them. I can advise you. Of course, you have already people in your country, China, Egypt, Brazil, Russia. You have many, many people with PhDs that can produce macroeconomic models. But I, from the Caribbean, I've been building macroeconomic models for small island nations. I've been advising Namibia. I've been advising Kenya. I've been advising Suriname, building economic models for Suriname. I've been running the Bitcoin 24 model for Suriname, Curacao, Saint Martin. That means that what if these islands have the Bitcoin strategy, meaning that the government puts their surplus converted into Bitcoin, that the government is saving in Bitcoin. Just like the United States wants to do. We want a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I already have run these scenarios for small island nations, for Suriname, Curacao, and for St. Martin. And I can run these for all the Eastern Caribbean island nations. And I can also advise these countries on that. I don't need an economic model to do that, but I want to dive deeper in these economies, understand these economies, run simulations so that we know what is happening in the world. So why do I do that? The economic models are just instruments, tools for me. If I need to go to Egypt or Brazil, China, or United Arab Emirates, or if I need to have an interaction, like suppose we want to, I need to join an international conference about the economies of these nations, and they invite me. Then what I will bring is I will bring my tool set, organize this data in this joint statistical publication, put it into a macroeconomic framework, which is a consistent framework where, all the data is in there. You have the real sector, external sector, the export sector, you have the monetary sector, you have the labor market sector, and now we are running scenarios to 2030 to 2035. And we are just discussing the economies on a macroeconomic level. That is my expertise. You understand? So I will be working with the professors in China, professors in India, professor in Saudi, in United Arab Emirates, in Brazil. I can be running that, but I will be using my economic spreadsheet model and my Python data science models, artificial intelligence models, to just communicate with them, and then I know in a spreadsheet you can run these simulations. You understand? So that's how it works. So this step is the first step, looking at the data. So I'm doing two things here. I'm sharing the information with you, and I'm already telling you how this step, by looking at the data, how it ties to how you build economic models. Because you cannot build economic model if you don't have the basic data structured like this. So that's why I'm like, wow, you got this data? Now we can run a macroeconomic model. We can build a macroeconomic model together. Now, so I'm already having this macroeconomic model for United States in there, and then I'm proposing that we build a macroeconomic model for all these countries together. You have a BRICS macroeconomic model, and it consists of the countries below them. So you have the breakdown for Brazil, if it's Brazil only, if it's Russia only, if it's India only, China only, South Africa only, United Arab Emirates only, Iran only, Egypt only. You see? All these, Ethiopia only. And then you also have the economy of the whole BRICS. Imagine that. So then you have a discussion, and then on the other side you have the economic model of United States. Now you can run simulation like say, okay, if you have a tariff here, how will it impact United States? If United States has a tariff there, how it will impact? If United States doesn't import anymore from the BRICS, or doesn't export anymore to the BRICS, how can the BRICS grow themselves? That's those kind of scenarios will you be running. How will this impact the unemployment in the BRICS? How will this employment the real sector in the BRICS? So I like this. So the economic relations, look at that. Great. We have all the data. We have the data about the foreign direct investments, merchandise. You see here, this is good. This is great data. This is data about the external sector. This is data about, now, tourism. So here I want to pass to the people of the Caribbean. I want to pass to the people of the Caribbean and let me speak to you right in your eyes. Caribbean, you have been catering to the United States. Most of your tourists come from the United States. If there is a hurricane, for instance, St. Martin, or in the Eastern Caribbean region, if there is a hurricane, then the tourists from United States will go away. I know for St. Martin, for instance, there was a hurricane, and then the whole economy was flat. There were sometimes the hurricanes, they go down and they can come over the Eastern Caribbean. Good. So what you see is those countries, those islands. Curacao is, for instance, a lot more dependent on stayover tourists from United States and part Dutch. If something happens to the economy of the United States because of these tariffs, because of the war of tariffs, like I said, United States puts tariffs on other people, Canada, Mexico, they put tariffs on the exports of United States. It's going to lead to inflation. It's going to lead to more purchasing power going down because prices go up. Why do prices go up? Because the taxes lead to higher. The people in the United States, the businesses in the United States that import, imagine all the BRICS, all these BRICS nations, they put a tariff on the United States. Imagine Europe now puts a tariffs on the United States. Imagine we're going to fire tariffs on each other. What does it mean? It means that insecurity. It means first the insecurity. If there is insecurity, people will start hoarding stuff. When they hoard stuff, there is less supply, prices go up. Bang! Bang, prices go up. If prices go up, consumers in the United States will have less money in their back pockets. Second thing, if the United States already in debt, a lot of people having credit card debts, etc. What do you think will happen if prices go up? They will not go on holidays, less of them. When they don't go on holidays, and you in the Caribbean, you are all waiting for the arrivals of United States tourists, and from Canada, but Canada is also in a war with the United States with the tariffs. What do you think will happen with your tourism arrivals? So I can run a scenario right now that this war of tariffs that's going to affect North America, it's going to affect the insecurity. That means that people are going to, the world is going to be more volatile. And then suddenly you see less people coming to the Caribbean. I have macroeconomic model of 12 islands in the Caribbean. And what does it mean? It's just like a hurricane. But it's a financial trade war hurricane. Now, if you want to know more about that, talk to me. If you are in one of the islands in the Eastern Caribbean, the 8 islands in the Eastern Caribbean, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, Turks and St. Lucia, Grenada, and Turks and Caicos, and Jamaica, I have an economic framework to discuss that. So now, look at the data about tourism. How many people are going to the BRICS? How much tourists arrive in the BRICS? Do you see that table 15.1? Number of foreign tourist arrivals in the BRICS from different countries. So here you see that United States, that how many tourists from the United States go to the BRICS, go to Russia. I've already checked it. Due to the war, it went down. How many people from the United States go to China? How many people from China go to South Africa? How many people from China go to United Arab Emirates? How many people from China go to Russia? You see their tourism business. You see how big, how many flows are out of those countries of the BRICS to each other and to outside. That is critical. Why is it critical? Because it's a new source market. These people are growing. We already see. Probably you will see later that they are growing. Their economies are growing. They have more money. They have less debt. They have more innovation. They are growing. And then they want to spend money by going outside. Can they go to the Caribbean? Of course. Can they go to your country? Of course. Can they go to Europe? Of course. You understand? So if the United States is running against them, now you have here, and your economy is based on tourism, for instance on Curacao, St. Martin, Grenada, you are tapping only on the United States and Canada, and United States and Canada are in a trade war with each other. You might want to look at this. Okay, so I hear you. You would say probably it's too far. Asia is too far. China is too far. Brazil. How many flights are from Brazil to the Caribbean? How many flights are from China to the Caribbean? How many flights are there from this region? Because if you are in tourism and you're only dependent on people coming from Canada to the Caribbean, from United States to the Caribbean, then you know if Canada and United States are going to be affected, you need to diversify. So diversification is something I hear every day. We need to diversify from tourism. Aruba right now is building their economic model. They're building new. They want high luxury tourists, right? They don't want the ordinary tourist from the United States anymore. They want to target something else. If the money is being built in the BRICS, if the BRICS has more millionaires and billionaires in the making because their economy is growing faster than Europe and faster than the United States, then you might want to look at this data. So when I extract this data, I will be having this data in the database and I will be analyzing it. So look at this. Very important data. Ask some questions if you have any questions. Okay. And then there is the part, the end part. The annex. The annex means the end part where they do the information. So we went through all this table. We went through all this table. And now I want to focus, because I promised you that I want to show you the exports and imports. So that's why I'm going up. And I'm going to the external relationship. Well, so now I'm going to the external relationship. And I clicked in there. And the goal is here, how much exports and imports are there from United States to the BRICS, and how much, if there is a tariff of 10%, how much billions will that be? So like I said, I gave you more information. What do you see here? You see here the summary of external economic relations, which is the value of the imports and exports of goods and services in $1 million. What is this? This is a lot. If this is 1 million, then this is probably Brazil. Let me see. Brazil imports, if this millions, Brazil imports $63 billion. And Brazil in 2023 imports 389 billion US dollars. So there you have it, Trump. Trump, we don't know yet, but this is the total imports of Brazil. The total imports of China, you see that? We're not talking about billions anymore, we're talking about trillions. Because then China is about 3.1 trillion US dollars. Egypt, 82 billion. India, 856 billion dollars. United Arab, $481 billion of imports. So if the United States wants to tax, it will tax part of this data, of this figure. You see here? South Africa and Russia. So the top one is China, then you have Brazil importing, and then you have United Arab Emirates importing, and then you have Russia imported. Now, Iran doesn't have any figures, Ethiopia doesn't have any figures, but it doesn't mean that they don't import. Value of exports. So exports is the services, goods and services they are sending out. Again, China, 3.5 trillion. So China is exporting more than it's importing. You see that? China is exporting 3.5 trillion and importing, buying 3.1 billion. So exports is you're gaining foreign resource, and imports is your spending dollars or whatever. Imports of goods. So then it's not only services anymore, but now you go to goods. China, again, 2.5 trillion importing. Ethiopia. So India, the same thing. And then China exporting. How much is China exporting? 3.1 trillion. Egypt, 42 billion. 437 billion in India. So this is going down. You see, we can use this data, and normally what I do is I can make a graph, see it's growing or it's not growing. Those things we can analyze it. You see here it went from 36. Let me see, imports. This is services. So you have services and goods. So you have the total, export, goods, and services. Now, what is an import of service? Import of service is if I give my my project management training to the Chinese a Chinese department or a Chinese business. That is import of services. If I give a training in macroeconomic analysis to a Chinese or a Brazil company, that is, they are importing my services. And the goods, if I, for instance, if the Chinese come to the Caribbean, they come to Curacao, they fly and they stay here 3 weeks in a villa. That is, they are importing our travel services. Okay, so basically, it's telling you that these services, the imports of these services, they are probably in here, they are importing tourism. They're spending a lot of money on tourism, on transportation, on all kinds of services. So if you are a service-based business in the Caribbean or anywhere in the world, you don't like sending goods and goods. You are a service-based business. For instance, Curacao, if you are an IT company from CIMIA. CIMIA is an association of Caribbean companies, IT companies. Or you have a fintech association and you are providing financial services, Bitcoin financial services, payment services. You are doing it to Brazil, to China. You want to do it to Ethiopia, to India. That means that this is the money they are spending right now in services. And you have to find out what the breakdown of this for your particular service. So this, I'm saying it for Curacao, but if you are in the Caribbean and you want services, you are a service-based business like I am, I'm totally service. I don't produce any products. I'm just producing training, coaching, programs, transformation programs. I'm producing project management services online. My whole business is service-based. I'm giving training on Bitcoin, starting with that, training on Bitcoin online also, how to use Bitcoin, how to save in Bitcoin. Those are not financial advice, but those are pure training. Then those are services. So Caribbean, if you have the internet, basically, if you have the internet connection to the BRICS, then you can provide services online. If you are an app developer in the Caribbean or anywhere in the world, in Europe, because this program I'm showing you, this episode is also for Europe. I'm focusing on the Caribbean. I'm focusing on small islands in the world, 57, but what I'm telling you is applicable for all the businesses in the world. If you are watching this on LinkedIn, you are a high-paid professional and you want to do a side job. You are in Europe. You want to do a side job. Then this is also good. What is your side job? Your side job might be in developing an IT application, an app, or whatever that these people, this country want. Then this is the number you're looking at. Okay? This is what they are import. So basically they are importing 535 billion in services. Look at that. 178 billion in services. South Africa, 18 billion in services. United Arab Emirates, 105 billion in services. Why do I say that? Look at this. It went from 64 in just 2014 and it went to 105. So it almost doubled, 1.5 in a couple of years. Do you see where I'm going? Do you see where I'm going? Now, to just put this into perspective, Curacao, the total economy is 2.5 billion US dollars. If you want to do some business in services with the BRICS, here you have the billions. I'm not going to say you are going to hit all these billions, but these are the markets, and now you can tap into those markets. So if this was like nothing, they are not importing anything in services, then I would say go. But if your economy is 2.5 billion, all these small island economies in the Caribbean, the 57 small island economies in the world, if your economy is less than 3 billion US dollars, you know already that this is a potential to export there. Boom. Good. So let's move to the more interesting stuff, which is how much do they import and export between themselves. You see here? This is also one great. Outflows of foreign direct investments. Inflow of foreign direct investments. So the outflow of foreign direct investments, because this is the money that these people have and they can directly invest outside the BRICS. Now, I know, for instance, CNEX is a Curacao investment and export agency. They have a new director there. And I know that CNEX of Curacao wants to attract investments from outside. There might be also Caribbean investment export agency. You might have an investment export agency on your island. St. Lucia, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Turks and Caicos, Jamaica. I'm mentioning the islands that I'm helping, but if you are not in this list, please contact me. If you want foreign direct investments, this is the target you need to look at. This is the money that is the outflow of foreign direct investments from Brazil, from China. You see here? From Egypt. This is in billion, 33 billion. So if your investment agency is not bringing anything, but it's costing you money, then they need to travel less and they need to start focusing on this data, because this data, we already saw that with services, etc., that probably they are not targeted on this data. My question would be, who is in charge of this data? Which companies are investing? Because I'm also an investor in public companies, I can check the Brazilian companies and how much they invest. The Brazilian public companies, you see? But that's another episode. I can go to the Chinese public companies, or the Chinese, public companies, meaning that they are publicly traded. I can buy them on an exchange. I can look at them on Yahoo Finance. I can check the Indian or the Egyptian public companies, and how much do they invest. You see? So that's how you do it. You bring the macro level to the basic. So do you see already where I'm going? I'm tapping from the data. It is a simple joint statistical publication. Most people will not look at that data, but I'm focusing on that, and I'm using, on one hand side, I'm using this data to screen the database to see if there is enough data to answer a question, which is how much export and import can United States tax. The second thing is I'm looking at the data to say, do I have enough data to be building my macroeconomic framework for the BRICS and United States also? But this data especially for the BRICS. Do I have the data? 3, I'm recognizing and appreciating the fact that the BRICS has a good, solid database, and I'm helping you. And 3, what I'm looking is also, hey, how can we make money out of this? So how much would the direct foreign investment target be for the Eastern Caribbean if we are focusing on Brazil, China, Egypt, etc.? So let me just explain that one. If suppose we are on a conference of investments in the Caribbean for the Eastern Caribbean, 8 countries of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, plus Jamaica and Turks and Caicos. And also we have Curacao and St. Martin in there. This is a regional conference, and then we're going to talk about how much investments can we get from the BRICS. Imagine that's the problem we want to solve. Now, I would prepare this presentation by going to this data, analyzing this data, extracting this data with my Python automation and artificial intelligence framework. I would analyze this data. I would go deeper down into the outflows because probably there is data, especially who's investing, and I would be presenting that to the conference. Then we would say, okay, how much does the Brazilian, how much do they invest in outside? You see? Now, the other thing is you see here that they have a lot of money that they are investing from outside. China is investing in the world. They have an investment portfolio. Good. Foreign reserves. Now, this data, the share of debt. Like I told you, look at this. Share of external debt to GDP. This data is low. External debt, this data is basically low. It was very low, let me say. Very low. I saw this. Russia, Iran, China. 13%. I wanted to have also the local debt, not only the external debt, but this means to you, they have a low debt to GDP, debt to their gross domestic product of their economy. This is only the external debt. You have to take the local debt also. But the local and external debt of the United States is 130%. So United States is indebted, while these people are not that much indebted. They might have debt in their own currency, but they don't have debt in dollars. That's what they're telling you. So they are more powerful than you. You're not going to hit them with any problems with debt. Good. So now we want to actually look at more information. You see here, this is selected data on merchandise trade. So what is this? This is Brazil, and Brazil is trading with China. This is the data from January, and this is Brazil trading with United States. So what I can see here is the trade of Brazil with United States is almost as big as China. You see that? So Trump looks at this, Trump can say, hey, wait. And this is only for data. What kind of trade are we talking about? Natural gas, potassium. Okay, I cannot see here which is what it is. It's import. Yeah, it's import. You see? Because trade is great, but you want to look at the imports and the exports. So the imports, look at this. Brazil is importing this amount of 23 billion from China, 23 billion from United States. And totally they are importing 137 billion. Okay, So they are importing it, meaning that the United States is exporting it. Trump is not going to tax this. But if Brazil now wants to tax, to put a tariff on the United States because the United States wanted to put a tariff on, is threatening all the world with a tariff. United States, imagine this, I'm Brazil. United States is threatening Canada, Mexico, Europe for tariffs. And it's China also. And it's implementing the tariffs, 25%, maybe, on certain products. You are Brazil. And you are importing this from China and United States. Imagine, and these are United States companies who are exporting. Imagine Brazil says, you know what? In the BRICS, let's have a strategy against United States. They are taxing. United States is taxing us. We are taxing United States. So then suddenly Trump will see that 23 billion of tariffs is imposed on their exports. And it will hurt the economy of United States. It will hurt the American people, and the United States can go into a recession. Now, I don't know how big this is compared to the United States economy. I think the economy was about 20 trillion, so this is not a lot. 23 billion is not a lot. But if they all start doing this, it will hurt exporting businesses in the United States. Now, this is the world is interacted. They also can hurt you. Maybe the people that advise Mr. Trump needs to look at these figures. Okay. Let's look again at the exports to United States. Then United States can say to Brazil, okay, I'm going to hurt you back. I'm going to hurt you because I'm importing 23 billion on stuff. And we can see what kind of stuff. You see here? What can Brazil do? Brazil can say, you know what, China? China, we need to work into the BRICS because I'm very dependent on this stuff. China, I'm exporting 23 billion to United States. They are taxing me. I cannot sell this anymore to United States. Nobody want to buy that. Can we diversify into China? Can you take more of this thing? China, can you grow more so that your people will take the 23 billion of the United States? That's how you do it. That's how you do it. So you diversify away from the United States into China. Maybe they can go, this 23 billion, they can go and sell it to United Arab Emirates. What is this stuff? So my next question, not for this episode, my next question would be, Brazil, what are you exporting? I know already. But what are you exporting to the United States? Those are not cars, because Brazil is not a car producer, etc. It's like a agricultural. The main exporting sector of Brazil is agriculture. I think minerals. Okay, but I already saw that. So what is this? Is this food? What is this? Can we diversify to another country? So that's how it will play out. Okay, you see here what kind of imports is it? You see what kind of things is it? Import by principal commodities. This is what they are importing. And then you see, so they are importing natural gas, all kind of stuff. And exporting, what are they exporting? Like I told you, they are exporting soybeans, ores, petroleum, other cane, sugar cane. So if I'm building an export sector model for Brazil, it will not be tourism, but it will have probably these products. You see? And then I'm looking at the price of these products because this is the total volume. No, this is the total value, But if I have the price of soybeans and iron ores, petroleum oils, sugarcane, soy waste, if I have the price of those things, then I already can understand the export sector of Brazil. If there is a price change, what will happen to the export sector of Brazil? So, you see, I just gave you a hint about how you build an economic model. Because out of this data, I need to go to the export sector of Brazil, and I need to model that, and I need to model the different products, the basic product categories of Brazil. But if I'm building it for United Arab Emirates, they are exporting and importing different things. If I'm building it for China, it will be more different things. Okay? So, you cannot add one big model of the BRICS. You need to have a model of Russia, because the export sector of Russia is different. You need to have a country model for Russia, for Brazil, for China, for India. Those are different models, and then you add them up to a model of the BRICS. So we have done this for the Netherlands Antilles. I have done this on the Netherlands Antilles in the past. I've added all those Aruba, Curacao, St. Martin. We have added all those islands. And I'm also planning in my spare time, you can do that for the Eastern Caribbean, because I have all the 8 islands of the Eastern Caribbean. And I want to build this also for the Caribbean, so I can add all those things together. Look at this. So this, let's continue about Brazil. So this is Brazil, the flow of direct investments of Brazil. So Trump can actually say, you know what, Brazil? I'm not going to tax the goods that's coming from you, but I don't want my businesses to invest anymore in Brazil. And like we are talking about Brazil, we're just taking Brazil as an example, because Brazil is close to the Latin America. But I'm taking Brazil, but you can do the same exercise we just did for United Arab Emirates, for China, for all those countries in the BRIC, by looking at the United States and analyzing what is the impact of the United States on their trade. Yeah, we did it with goods, and now we're going to look at it in foreign direct investment. So what you're seeing here is that basically 8 billion in 2023, 8 billion is flowing from the United States to Brazil, and those are United States companies that invest in Brazil. If you go to the balance of payments, you can see the type of investments, portfolio investments, and the kind of the investments, etc. But basically, United States is investing in Brazil. Now, has this grown? Yes, it has grown from 5.3 to 8.2 billion. Yes, it has not grown significantly, but it has grown. The top is about in 2017. You see, something happened there, but here I need a graph. Probably it went up to 10 billion, and now it's going down a little bit. Good. So Trump can potentially say, you know, I don't want to allow them to invest. All right, you don't invest in Brazil. And then Brazil will lose potentially 8 billion in their economy in foreign direct investment. The same can happen with China, etc. Do you see, by looking at the figures, you can now check what's happening based on data. Not only basing on what you see in YouTube, on CNN, or whatever. You are here. Maybe you are on Noster. You can see this. Now, if the foreign direct investment, the flow, those flows are, and now I'm going to talk to my Bitcoin community. Those flows are, how are they, these flows, and the imports also, how are they paid? Probably through the banks. How is this investment made? Probably through the banking sector. 8 billion. How are how is this money paid? The merchandise, imports and export, through the banking sector, right? Through the banking sector, from China to Brazil, from United States to Brazil. 23 billion imports into Brazil. Now, if you are a Bitcoin company, if you are a company like Strike of Jack Mallers, if you are a company that is hole punch, peer-to-peer, that you are producing Keat.com, you're producing communication, maybe you can produce a Keat.com communication app that will allow businesses to work with each other. And then maybe you have a wallet, the wallet of the Blink wallet, not the wallet of the Blink wallet alone, but the wallet, maybe the Tether wallet. Those are wallets that you can transact value, Bitcoin, sats. You can transact USDT. USDT is a coin. You understand? So this is a potential inflow. You see? It's a potential inflow target that you can go after. Because instead of this going through the banks, this can go through your app. For Curacao, we have banks, but we don't know if the banks of Curacao, they are already in this. You understand? The banks of Curacao, like Vida Nova, MCB Bank, Banco de Caribe, yeah? Royal Caribbean Bank. Are they in this business? Probably not. That means that they are not providing direct business services, loans or whatever, to these United States companies there. So for the people on the Parliament of Curacao, if you stimulate the Bitcoin use, you stimulate trading, you stimulate payment gateways that not only go to Curacao, but our businesses can go and provide services in there. The banks are not there. The local banks are not there. But if there are payment providers that can go in there, facilitate the payment, the direct foreign investments, then you will earn a part of that transaction fee and you will earn more money. Also for St. Martin, also for Eastern Caribbean countries. You see here? So it doesn't need to be only your country going, foreign direct investment going to your island. Your businesses on your country, in your island, can be providing services somewhere in here. Okay? Let's discuss. You understand that? So that's why you need a Bitcoin-friendly environment. You need to put your central bank not to tax everybody, to tell everybody that they have Bitcoin, that they are illegal, they are criminals. But what you need to do is have a friendly conversation with your parliament and also with your business community, especially the people who have software, who are decentralized, who are advanced, the people doing artificial intelligence, the people working with Bitcoin, with crypto maybe. And then you need to have a digital asset framework like Michael Saylor, the Bitcoiner, has proposed, so that your businesses can engage. But if you kill the Bitcoin community in your island, you will not be tapping on this 8 billion of foreign direct investment. You will not be tapping on the import and export from United States to Brazil, to any of the BRICS, because your business sector is not engaged in this. Okay, to summarize this, I have been seeing discussions that, for instance, small island nations in the Caribbean, they want to join the CARICOM. They want to trade with the CARICOM. So the story will be, okay, let's go to the CARICOM and let's sell our stuff. Let's sell toilet paper to CARICOM. Let's sell manufacturing stuff to the CARICOM. Let's have an intra-CARICOM trade. That's good. But what you can also do is, you as CARICOM, or you as the Caribbean individual islands, St. Martin, Curacao, any other, Bahamas, you can be providing your small businesses with an environment where they can trade, and they can trade their services to these BRICS. Like I said, it's not only the value of the products, it's not becoming a hub of products, but it's becoming a hub of services. And services can go through the internet, and they can be instantly global. Okay, if you want to talk more about that, just let me know. So this is basically the data of merchandise from China, from United States now to China. You see here, this is the number, 163 billion of imports from United States to China in 2023. But China can also do that, export to United States, again, 500 billion. So United States can say, hey, China, I'm going to tax your 500 billion in trade. And then China can say, okay, I'm going to tax your 163 billion in trade. Because we are in a war on tariffs with each other. You see? So these are interesting things, right? United States going from 22 billion to 163 billion. If the United States is taxed, this will not be good for Trump. It's not going to be good for the businesses who voted for Trump. What are these things? Are these agriculture products, manufactured products? You need to look into the data of the United States. What is the United States exporting? When I have the United States macro model, I will be able to tell you exactly, because then I studied, just like I'm studying in the BRICS right now, I'm studying then the trade of United States. What are they exporting? But I know already that they are exporting 163 billion to China. And that is at risk. You see? That is at risk. So it's not only taxing, putting tariffs on other people, but other people can put taxes on you also. So the import of principal commodities. Let's look at this. You see, this is United States. This is imports, and you see the United States is basically the top guy exporting to China. Okay, but Asian, those are Asian economies, is 380. Australia is almost the same as United States. They are importing. So China can say, let me start importing from other people. You are taxing me? Yes, there would be, no, I can tax this one. And then China would then go and say, okay, you are taxing my 500 billion, but let me start to go more to the Asian countries. Let me move part of this, to Russia, to Germany, to Taiwan, to Japan, whatever, Hong Kong, because you need to move because they are taxing it. So what are they? What is What is China exporting? What is China exporting? China is exporting a lot of stuff. You see here? It's exporting electric machinery, nuclear reactors, exporting furniture. They are the factory of the world. Plastics, they are exporting a lot. So based on this breakdown, you can know what kind of stuff China is exporting. What is China importing? China is importing minerals, nuclear reactors, optical things. Probably United States is exporting these a couple of things to them. So that's basically what I wanted to show you. And the direct foreign investment of China to the United States is significantly. Look at this. Look at this. 7 billion. 7 billion. So China has been investing in United States. 7 billion. Is this more? Yes. Probably this is not the reserves that they're having, because China is holding also reserves, bonds of the United States. We have seen that before. We can dive into there. This is the balance of payments. Bon. So, before I go, I want to invite you again to my program. And this program is an offer that I have. Join my experience. Let me show you again. Let me go back again. Offer. look you in the eyes. It is done. I will be uploading this on Nostr. Nostr is my place where I am also active, and Nostr is a place where I put my content for the decentralized community. And I'm also available on LinkedIn, on YouTube with my Island Wealth. And this is one of the episodes that I put on Nostr, because Nostr is also for my Bitcoin community on Nostr and for my unstoppable community of Nostr. Welcome to Island Wealth. And I'm going out with a beautiful picture of the Caribbean. This is the Island Wealth where we're talking about. I invite you to come to the Caribbean. Come to the Caribbean, and come especially to Curacao, because we depend on your dollars and your renminbi and your ruble, whatever. We depend on your money, real, Brazilians. I invite you to come to Curacao, come to the Caribbean. Come to the Caribbean, but also think about Curacao. And we are in the Caribbean. And this is what I want to leave you with. See yourself in this picture. Till next time. Tomorrow we'll be back. I will be back with continuing this. Okay? Invite other people to look at my channel on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Nostr. I'm not on TikTok, but this is it. See you. I'm going out.